Yeah, alright guys, and welcome to my channel. This is Crypto Tyke, and if you're a Casper holder, I'll be talking about something later on in the video, but at the moment we're focusing on something that will be of interest to you anyway, because obviously the price of CAS has gone down, so that will present some buying opportunities, and yeah, I'll have a little announcement later on for you guys as well. Anyway, on the broader scheme of things, I'm quite pleased with the little bit of trading. And I always say this, I'm not a trader, I'm investing longer term in crypto and other assets. And it means sometimes you do have to get involved in a bit of trading. Now, actually, partly this is useful for Casper holders as well. And one thing that I did, I said on one of my videos last week that I was, or the week before actually, that I was going to liquidate 40%, sorry, of my Casper holdings. And right now, that little move is paying off nicely, because what I did was I liquidated it at 8 cents and 6, and that 40%, and then I bought AVAX and a couple of other things, Link. And what I did then was I rode the price up on those, and I was able to take some decent profits. And because I was looking that it's not necessarily going to break through any further, I decided cautiously to trim some profits from other things that I'd bought, AVAX being one, Chainlink being another. I'd got some profits off of Aptos and sold most of the Aptos, and glad I've done that at the timing I did, with a couple of other things that are invested in and I've trimmed here and there. And that's because the market's always moving, and there was the long liquidations on the horizon, which seems to have happened right now, hence the prices are going down, and that could lead to people panicking a little bit and liquidating as well, just in general, and could see the prices go down further before coming back up onto new highs and, you know, taking the next road ahead. It's allowed me now looking at getting a bit more Solana and being able to just monitor the price on calm with AVAX, because like I said, I trimmed those and I was like, took the profits, and I was 50-50 about it at the time I did that. But looking, what I'd done is trim enough that I'd be happy with the profits, not enough to be pissed off if this happened, which is exactly what's happened. So it brings your average price up a little bit when you do that, obviously, but I also know we're going up in legs throughout this season, Q4, and into 2026. So with each step I get more confident of just upping that average price ever so much by shaving off profits here and there. So what's happened for you people holding Casper? Well, like I said, I sold 40% of it at 8 cents and 6, whatever, and then since then the price has come down to 7 cents and 7. Now it's got room possibly to come down a bit more, but this is where I look to start DCAing back into Casper. So I'm getting it at decent prices and being able to lower my overall average price on that, so it's in prime position for a longer hold through alt season. So if, like I'd warned against, you're swapping your ETH back when for Solana. Now some people will argue, wow, but the price has now come back down a bit on Ethereum. That is the case, but again, it's a safer asset that you know is going to lead the way first, before Solana goes, before AVAX goes, before the rest follow. So ETH is a good place to be able to rotate into, rather than selling before it's on its next leg up. I certainly wouldn't advise, and I'm not a financial advisor, and it isn't financial advice, but I would not be selling those solid assets like the Solanas, like the Ethereums, and certainly not obviously Bitcoin, because you're safe. You're as safe as you can be in crypto with them. And now, with the prices as they are, if you hadn't just been holding your Casper and had made some moves, what would happen is you'd now be in a position to buy more for your money. So people who are like saying to me, and I'm seeing a lot of this in the comments, oh, I'm just holding. It's like, you need to understand how money works and how crypto works. It goes up, it goes down, and makes it, there's no guarantees in crypto, there's no guarantees in life, full stop. But now you would have extra liquidity had you trimmed a bit to buy back in and lower that average price that you've got it at, and then it wouldn't look as bad when it struggles along and everything else is going up. Now, that's not to say Casper won't go up. I've got faith in it getting to about $1 maybe this at the height of alt season. It's a possibility. $1.25 or just shy of $1 at a push, possibly $2. But again, it leads you to having to decide, am I going to sell any of my cash when it reaches that, because there will be this very stormy weather on the horizon after a certain period of 2026 that you've got to be aware of. So a lot of people, and this is my concern about people who are holding Casper, is the psychological effects. And the psychological effects are, if you have held it for a very long period of time and you've watched other things go up, and you start to realise and do the calculations in your head that I could have just waited and bought Casper further down the line and got even more. Instead, I've got all this money tied up in Casper. Are you going to end up selling? Now, you might say to yourself, no, I'm holding on forever here. I'm holding on. But in reality, you've got some expectations that aren't going to get met when you think they are, and that is what leads to selling in the reds, making actual realized losses rather than unrealized losses. You miss out on the profits because the profits just don't meet your expectations of what you're going to sell at. And I'm not saying sell all of it, keep a bit back for security, just in case it does pump on even further in the short term. But just blindly holding on is quietly, without you realizing it, losing you Casper, and as well as losing you money. It's losing you Casper, because right now, just like I am, I ditched 40%, and now I'm going, okay, I can lower that dollar cost average a little bit, buy more Casper for my buck. Why? Because I am not, as much as I like the project, as much as I think it's got real potential, that emotional attachment also is weighed up against reality, and you have to not think with your feelings in this crypto market. You have to think with your head and your feelings psychologically, and this is something that I'll be going into more in my videos about psychology and how it tricks us and the ways we trick ourselves. Psychologically, your decisions will get more irrational the more emotionally attached you are to something, and you'll be blind to what's really going on, because, as I said in my previous videos, humans love to lie to ourselves. That's what we do best. It keeps us sane in a way, but sometimes when you get down that path, you start taking it too far, and you're blind to anything, and it's a bit like how a cult works. And I'm not saying Casper's a cult or anything like that, but it's the same process of thinking. So what you've got to do is guard against getting too emotionally attached to one particular crypto, and understand that business is business. And if you really, really like that crypto, you want opportunities to be able to get more of that, and money is not infinite, so that's why we have liquidity, and we talk about liquidity in the market. And what I did with that little sale of 40% of my Casper was realise that worst case scenario, I'm going to end up buying in at 10 cents, but that'll be in a couple of months and I'll have more money to spend anyway. So in the meantime, that money I think will be better spent on other assets that will generate more profit. So I was betting against that. And so far, there's no smart contracts, no Binance listing. Those two things are going to be very, very important for the future of Casper. So while those things aren't on the table, there's no major rush. And it's a long-term project. People keep saying it's a long-term project, and that's absolutely right. But when you're holding, you're forgetting it's a long-term project, because with it being a long-term project, that means you've got a lot of time before that price gets too expensive to accumulate enough to change your life. You know, at the moment it's dead easy, and anything under $1 really easy. Remember that. So you could rotate some of that. I'm not saying do it, again, not financial advice. It's your choice if you want to hold it, but all I'm saying is my choice to do that has proved to be very profitable in the short term. And guess what? Right now I'm able to DCA back into CAS and pick up more, knowing full well next month I get more liquidity coming in, look at the price of Casper, see whether it's worthwhile to buy, but not just blindly going, oh, this is the bottom, this is the bottom. You don't know where the bottom is. So that's my thought. I'm now looking at the markets, looking at which way to put in my profits, where to buy, what's looking the best bet for me, you know. And it's still happy days. I'm not going to panic if the market goes down, because I'm just watching at the moment, making small security moves here and there. So I might buy something at this level because it's at a support level, but they'll be just to cover me against it going up all of a sudden, you know. So I've at least been able to take advantage of the prices, but also I've got to leave myself with enough liquidity for if the prices drop any further. And these are all things to think about. It's only if you have loads of money and you're wealthy that you don't have to really worry about shit like that, you know. But if you're a normal person like me, then you need to think carefully where you're putting your money, because you need to get the best value for that money. And just blindly holding Casper is not getting the best value for that money. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I will be discussing something else to do with Casper in another episode. There's two things that I'd like to bring to your attention. So one is to do with the liquidity transactions in Casper recently that I've spiked. A bit of information about that, which some of you might be already aware of, and also talking about smart contracts, but something to do with something I saw with ChatGPT and what a channel has said in the past about ChatGPT, and giving you my viewpoint on that. That's to do with Casper, so that's something worth looking forward to, quite eye-opening, and that should be out on Wednesday. But at the moment, what am I looking to do? Probably get some more Solana, solid that position up a bit more, ready for the next leg up. I just feel I never have enough. But as far as everything goes, it's just watching now over the next few hours, see what materialises, see what happens, take advantage of any further dips if necessary, and that's about it. Anyway, let me know what you think. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Are you buying up Casper now it's cheaper? Did you sell any Casper to give yourself that extra liquidity for buying on dips, or have you just stayed the same? You still refuse, and let me know why you refuse. Not just that Casper's going to be worth X amount in years to come. Let me know why you think it's better just holding rather than selling when you can make a profit. And or is it just that you're so in the red with Casper that you can't sell? It just makes no sense. Let me know. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Do hit the like button, because it makes a difference to a tiny channel like mine at the moment. And thanks for all the subscriptions I've had so far. It's been increasing. I really appreciate that. So I'll keep making videos, and of course, leave a comment and subscribe. Hit the bell icon. All that lot. Catch you later, guys. Bye bye.